My topic is geographical pricing in detail explain, and let's go to the topic and let's go to the start. Geographical pricing, also known as regional pricing or location-based pricing, is a pricing strategy in which a company sets different prices for the same product or service in different geographical locations. The prices may vary based on factors such as the cost of production, distribution expenses, local market conditions, and competitive landscape in each region. Geographical pricing is a pricing strategy that involves charging different prices for products or services depending on the location of the customer or the place where the product is sold. The main objective of geographical pricing is to reflect the differences in market conditions, competition, and customer behavior across different geographic regions. Cost considerations: companies may adjust prices based on variations in production costs, transportation expenses, taxes, and tariffs across different regions. For example, if it is more expensive to transport goods to a certain location, the company may increase the price in that region to cover the additional costs. Market conditions: pricing can be influenced by the demand and competition in a specific market. If a company operates in regions with different levels of purchasing power or market saturation, it may set different prices to maximize revenue and market share. Higher prices may be set in areas with stronger demand or limited competition, while lower prices may be used to penetrate new or price-sensitive markets. Exchange rates and currency fluctuations: in international markets, companies often adjust prices to account for exchange rate fluctuations and currency conversion costs. This helps maintain consistent profitability and competitiveness across different countries. Legal and regulatory factors: pricing decisions may also be influenced by local laws, regulations, and trade policies. Some countries impose import duties or taxes that affect the cost of goods, which can be reflected in the prices set for those regions. Competitive positioning: companies may use geographical pricing to position themselves competitively in different markets. By adjusting prices based on local market conditions and competitor pricing strategies, a company can adapt to the pricing norms and gain a competitive advantage. It's important to note that geographical pricing can be a complex strategy to implement, as companies must consider various factors and market dynamics in each region. Additionally, pricing disparities between regions can sometimes lead to consumer dissatisfaction or gray market activities where buyers seek to exploit price differentials by purchasing products in low-priced regions and reselling them in high-priced regions. Zone pricing: in this strategy, different prices are set for different geographic regions or zones. For example, a company may charge higher prices in urban areas than in rural areas to reflect the higher cost of doing business in cities. FOB origin pricing: this strategy involves charging different prices based on the distance between the customer and the origin of the product. Customers who are closer to the product origin will pay less than those who are farther away. Freight absorption pricing: in this strategy, the company charges a uniform price for the product but absorbs the transportation costs. This ensures that customers in distant regions pay the same amount as those who are closer. Transfer pricing: this strategy involves charging different prices for the same product in different countries to take advantage of tax and regulatory differences. Overall, geographical pricing allows companies to tailor their pricing strategies to local market conditions and customer demand, which can help boost sales and profitability. Geographical pricing is the practice of adjusting an item's sale price based on the location of the buyer. Sometimes the difference in the sale price is based on the cost to ship the item to that location. But the difference may also be based on what amount the people in that location are willing to pay. Companies will try to maximize revenue in the markets in which they operate, and geographical pricing contributes to that goal. Key takeaways: geographical pricing is a practice in which the same goods and services are priced differently based on the buyer's geographic location. The difference in price might be based on the shipping cost, the taxes each location charges, or the amount people in the location are willing to pay. Prices are also varied based on demand, such as a product that is competing with many rivals in a market versus a product that is exclusive to a market. Geographical pricing is a business strategy that helps companies price their items or services differently based on a consumer's geographical location. Organizations might adjust the prices based on a range of factors related to geographic location, including shipping costs, taxes, Manufacturing expenses or the amount a consumer in that region might be willing to pay. For example, a company may offer its products or services at a lower price in one geographic area if the shipping costs are less expensive or if other businesses sell similar goods in that region at a higher pricing point. Geographical pricing is a pricing strategy that takes into account the geographic location of customers when determining the price of a product or service. It involves adjusting prices based on factors such as transportation costs, local market conditions, competition, and customer purchasing power in different regions or countries. The goal is to optimize pricing to reflect the specific economic conditions and demand characteristics of each geographic area. With a freight absorption pricing strategy, the companies selling the products pay for the shipping cost. Although the warehouse or manufacturing plant most likely handles the shipping arrangements, the product creators or retailers cover the shipping expenses. This strategy can help customers feel satisfied with their free or low-cost shipping options. Businesses might also offer express shipping options that allow customers to pay more if they want to receive their goods faster. Businesses that use a zone pricing strategy charge higher shipping costs to customers in geographic areas where shipping is more expensive. These companies often develop distinct prices for the various zones they ship to by drawing concentric circles on a map and placing the warehouse, factory or plant in the middle. After they create these concentric circles, businesses can create boundaries on the map that represent different geographic pricing zones. A range of factors that affect prices in disparate geographic locations may influence these boundaries, including shipping costs, population density and transportation infrastructure. For example, organizations in the gasoline industry often implement zonal pricing strategies. The price of gasoline at a station typically depends on a range of geographic factors, including physical distance from the oil source, traffic patterns and the number of registered motor vehicles in an area. Companies that use a basing point pricing strategy calculate two different costs related to shipping their products. One cost is their base price, which refers to a uniform expense that all consumers ordering products from a specific manufacturing plant or warehouse pay. The second cost is the freight or shipment price, meaning an expense that fluctuates based on the customer's location. Customers nearer to the base point pay lower shipping fees, as they have reduced freight or shipment costs. For example, a customer in the United States and a customer from China both order products from a warehouse in the United States. If the seller of those goods uses a basing point pricing strategy, then both customers pay the same base fee. The customer from China pays more in freight or shipment costs, since that customer is further away geographically from the warehouse. Geographical pricing is a pricing strategy where a business adjusts the price at which it sells a given product on a regional basis, charging different prices in one area than it does in others. It's typically used to recoup shipping costs or create the impression of regional scarcity, novelty, or prestige. Zone pricing is the strategy that's typically associated with the term geographical pricing. It's a method where all customers within designated regions are charged the same, localized price. With zone pricing, more distant customers generally pay higher prices for a company's products or services. FOB, or free on board, origin pricing is where a buyer pays for any variable shipping costs from a seller's factory or warehouse on top of the original price. Ownership is transferred to the buyer as soon as the products in question have left their original facility. With this strategy, the buyer or the seller can arrange transportation. Freight absorption is a strategy where seller assumes, or absorbs, all or part of the cost of delivery to a given region, essentially amounting to a discount for buyers. In most cases, this method is reserved for promotions. Now that we have a baseline understanding of these strategies, let's see what they might look like in practice. Geographical pricing is a pricing strategy in which prices for products or services are set differently based on the geographic location or market in which they are being sold. This strategy takes into account various factors such as local market conditions, competition, cost of doing business, transportation costs, and customer purchasing power in different regions. Market-based pricing: prices are adjusted based on the specific market conditions in each geographic area. This approach considers factors such as local demand, competition, and customer preferences. For example, prices may be higher in areas with high demand or where there is limited competition. Cost-based pricing: prices are set based on selling and distributing products or services in different locations. This approach takes into account factors such as transportation costs, import/export duties, taxes, and tariffs. Prices may be higher in regions with higher costs of doing business. Zone pricing: prices are set based on predefined geographic zones. Each zone has a specific price associated with it, irrespective of local market conditions. This approach simplifies pricing by grouping areas with similar characteristics together. Dynamic pricing: prices are adjusted in real time based on market conditions, demand, and other factors. This approach allows for flexible pricing that can be tailored to each specific location and time. Dynamic pricing is often used in industries such as hospitality, transportation, and e-commerce. Geographical pricing can be advantageous for businesses as it allows them to adapt to local market conditions and optimize their pricing strategies for each region. However, it can also present challenges, such as managing customer perceptions of price disparities across different locations and the potential for price discrimination. It's important to note that geographical pricing strategies should comply with legal and regulatory requirements, including any anti-discrimination laws that may be in place. A geographical pricing strategy is a practice of adjusting the price of a product or service depending on the geographical location of the buyer. The adjusted price often reflects the costs of shipping, local taxes, market competition, or willingness to pay. Geographical pricing helps improve profit margin, maximize revenue and increase sales in low-cost markets. The simplest way to implement geographical pricing is what we like to call cosmetic localization. Many businesses list their selling prices only in their native currency. Expecting users to know or look up the conversions adds unnecessary friction and may cause hesitation in some buyers. Displaying your prices in the user's currency can help boost sales. Simple cosmetic changes may help, but will not give the same growth benefit that true price localization does. So let's take a look at two methods you can use to implement proper geographical pricing for your SaaS product. Matching the local currency is the first step. After doing that, a simple geographical pricing strategy is to adjust the different prices for individual and different localities based on the demand for your product coming from those localities. For example, in some regions, piracy is a larger problem than in others. While you can't pirate SaaS products, you can pirate potential alternatives. This could make a populace in those regions much less likely to purchase and decrease your reach in that area. Lower prices in those regions can help spur sales. Similarly, some areas may have fewer options for what you are offering, increasing your customer pool and allowing for higher prices. Comparable value-based pricing across all markets. A much more accurate way to localize your prices is to do a proper price sensitivity study for your particular product in a given area. This will not only tell you what customers' willingness to pay in that region, but also which features they may value over others. It's possible that you could see significant growth by adjusting your prices, as well as altering the structure of your pricing tiers to more closely align with the local buyer personas of a locality. In fact, you should take it a step further and adjust your marketing for those unique buyer personas as well. This will extract even more benefit from the cost of collecting the data. Your company's growth stage. At the beginning of your company's life, your pricing strategy is still in its infancy. Localizing too much here is a mistake because it takes time and resources away from finding your ideal product-market fit. For the major areas you want to serve, start by localizing the currency, and perhaps the text on your site. Once you get to the growth stage, you must pull as many growth levers as possible. That means going all in on true localization, conducting geographical pricing studies to find the ideal tiers and pricing for the major areas you sell, and localizing your marketing and copy for those areas. If you've reached the late stage without any localization, you are definitely losing out on profits. Localization is something you are going to have to do at this stage if you want to remain competitive. For businesses at this stage of development, geographical pricing should be part of a larger strategy to expand into new and possibly distant markets. However, it can also lead to pricing discrimination and customer dissatisfaction, especially if customers feel that they are being unfairly charged more based on their location. It is important for companies to have transparent and fair pricing policies and to communicate these policies effectively to customers to maintain their trust and loyalty. Reliable understanding of market opportunity. Each market is different, and not generically so. One product may be a hot-ticket item in one locality versus another, but the next product might fall flat. It isn't just the size of the economy, population density, shipping costs, point of production, or any single factor that determines what you can charge for a product in a given region. Culture, market realities in the region, and other factors play a huge role in how a given product is received there. If you haven't had pricing research conducted on a locality, there's a guarantee that you are missing out on an opportunity for more growth there. When you're ready to implement geographical pricing strategy, you want to make sure you have a firm understanding of the market opportunities unique to the regions you are targeting. Lean initial rollout. One of the advantages of localizing from the startup stage as outlined in the first item of the section is that there's a built-in lean initial rollout. This gives a company time to test each variable of the process in isolation or near isolation. You want to make sure you're focused on the optimization of every aspect of your localization, so this type of lean rollout aids in keeping everything optimized as you continue to add more elements. You can do the same at any stage by localizing in steps as though you were just starting out. Test and adapt. Another big problem businesses face is assuming that prices are something you just set and forget. Instead, you should view pricing as an iterative process. After the initial localization, you test out your new geographical pricing and adapt if it does not bring the results you are looking for. Additionally, you should reevaluate all of your pricing, not just the localization, every 6 months to ensure you're continuously accounting for changing market dynamics. Geographical pricing is a distinct pricing strategy that depends on adjusting the prices of a particular product or service depending on the specific geographical location of the buyer. Often, geographical pricing reflects aspects like the cost of shipping, market competition, local taxes, and a customer's willingness to pay for a particular product. In such a case, geographical pricing helps companies to improve the given profit margin and maximize revenue. Besides, geographical pricing is a great tool for boosting sales in low-cost markets. Companies across various industries use geographical pricing strategies to adapt them to particular shipping destinations. Often, products like gasoline are fully priced based on geographical pricing factors. In addition, companies operating in an agricultural industry often use geographical pricing. To illustrate, produce like avocados is far cheaper in places close to avocado plantations. Even in the software development market, some businesses sell products based on the insights got from geographical pricing. Geographical pricing is a pricing strategy in which a company sets different prices for its products or services based on the geographic location of its customers. This approach recognizes that market conditions, consumer preferences, purchasing power, and competition can vary significantly from one region to another. Cost-based pricing. Companies may consider the costs associated with delivering their products or services to different locations. Higher transportation or distribution costs in certain regions can justify higher prices. Market-based pricing. Prices can be adjusted based on the demand and competitive landscape in specific geographical areas. If a company operates in markets with higher purchasing power or lower competition, it may charge higher prices. Exchange rate considerations. In international markets, fluctuations in currency exchange rates can impact pricing decisions. Companies may adjust prices to account for currency exchange risks and ensure consistent profitability across different regions. Local market conditions. Factors such as local taxes, duties, tariffs, regulations, and cultural differences can influence pricing decisions. Companies need to consider these aspects to align their prices with the specific market conditions of each location. Price discrimination. Geographical pricing can also be used as a form of price discrimination, where companies charge different prices to different customer segments based on their willingness to pay. This approach aims to maximize revenue by capturing the consumer surplus in different regions. It's important to note that geographical pricing should be implemented carefully to avoid negative customer perceptions or backlash. Customers may compare prices across regions, especially in the age of online shopping, and any perceived unfairness or inconsistency could lead to dissatisfaction or loss of trust. Companies need to balance their pricing strategy with other factors such as brand positioning, competition, and customer expectation business objectives while maintaining customer loyalty and satisfaction. Starting with the zone pricing example, let's explore the following factors. In the zone pricing strategy, the approach directly depends on shipping distances. A company might manufacture a product in a particular region and then set particular zones across the country where the product will be shipped and sold. In such a case, Depending on the distances and transit costs, there will be different prices for the same product in different zones. Zone pricing directly depends on distances to zones. When speaking about FOB pricing, one should offer the following example. In this scenario, the business sells a product shipment to a storefront in Chicago. With FOB pricing in charge, the storefront owner would assume the shipping costs as a part of the purchase. In such a case, this example of the geographical pricing strategy correlates to the cost-related responsibility for shipping lying on the shoulders of the buyer. Namely, such a cost of shipping is integrated into the end product's price. Finally, there is an example of freight absorption pricing as distinct geographical pricing. For instance, consider a manufacturing company trying to expand its production area. It tries to go past the zone in which the product is predominantly shipped and sold. The manufacturer needs to adopt a freight absorption pricing strategy to get to the new area. While in the previous example, the buyer covers the shipping costs. In the example of this pricing strategy, the manufacturer covers the shipping charges while also assuming the corresponding liability for the product being in the shipping cycle. Additionally, dynamic pricing can also lead to price wars and intense competition among businesses, as companies attempt to outbid each other for customer demand by offering lower prices. This can ultimately lead to a decrease in overall profit margins for businesses and a less stable market. Furthermore, dynamically adjusting prices can also result in confusion and frustration among customers who are trying to compare prices between different retailers or make informed purchasing decisions. Complex pricing algorithms may also make it difficult for customers to understand why they are being charged a certain price, leading to decreased trust and loyalty. The aforementioned instances establish the foundation for geographical pricing. Yet, the pricing strategy is significant because it grants products sold at localized prices. When it comes to localizing geographical pricing, the pricing strategy should be dictated by local demand and currency. In such a case, one should add that geographical pricing properly used offers a competitive advantage. Why? Because customers are more inclined to buy products with a price in currency, people are used to it. It makes the entire purchasing cycle easier and more appealing. Besides, geographical pricing offers massive insights into local demand and pricing. With the pricing strategy, you can better grasp consumer psychology linked to a particular geographical area. As a result, equipped with geographical pricing, companies can make more accurate pricing decisions. Businesses do not spend much on pricing, which leads to losses. If your company is scaling, using the localization offered by geographical pricing is something that will support the natural growth of your company. Therefore, while dynamic pricing can be an effective tool for businesses to maximize profits and respond to changes in market demand, it must be implemented carefully and transparently to avoid negative consequences for both businesses and customers. Local appeal. Particular geographical pricing strategies allow companies to avoid using one-fits-all solutions. In such a case, getting more localized insights into consideration ensures greater pricing and marketing strategies accuracy. Dealing with shipping costs. Based on the examples presented, one can see that geographical pricing help companies deal with shipping costs. These are designed to allow businesses leverage the shipping costs and recoup the potential losses while integrating the cost of shipping into the end product's total price. Boost the product's perceived value. When geographical pricing is delivered properly, it ensures that the product's perceived value is boosted in the areas at which geographical pricing was directed at. For instance, a higher price in a region with matching demand enhances brand perception. Complicating bookkeeping and accounting. Having different pricing strategies for different regions requires a lot of paperwork. Keep in mind that local prices can even be in different currencies. When a high degree of variability is involved, bookkeeping becomes a challenging task. Local regulations. When dealing with various geographical locations, one should consider the factor of local rules and regulations. Geographical pricing always deals with local laws. There can be situations when accounting for regional taxes and regulations might force a company to boost the price of an end product. Besides, if a firm does not adhere to local laws, it can result in litigation and bring a massive financial burden. Geographical pricing is a pricing strategy that involves charging varying prices for products or services based on the location of the customer. This approach is used to consider differences in the cost of production, transportation, and market demand across different geographic regions. By employing this strategy, businesses can tailor their pricing to different areas to maximize revenue and profit margins. In today's global economy, geographical pricing is an essential strategy for businesses to stay competitive. By charging different prices for the same product or service, businesses can take advantage of local market conditions and ensure profitability in each market. For instance, a company may charge a higher price for a product in a region where the cost of production is higher or where the demand is high. Conversely, they may charge a lower price in a region where the cost of production is lower or where the demand is low. Geographical pricing can be based on several factors such as distance, transport costs, taxes, and local market conditions. It is widely used in various industries, including the retail, software and hardware, automotive, and pharmaceutical industries. The zone pricing strategy is a common geographical pricing strategy that involves dividing the market into several zones and pricing products differently in each zone. This is based on factors like distance, transport costs, and local market conditions. FOB, free on board, origin is a pricing strategy where the seller sets the price of the product at the point of origin and the buyer pays for transportation costs to get the product to their location. FOB pricing is typically used when transportation costs are significant and can vary widely based on the distance between the origin and destination. Uniform delivered pricing involves setting a single price for a product or service that includes the cost of transportation to all locations. Such a pricing strategy can simplify the pricing process and make it easier for customers to understand what they are paying for. Differential pricing involves charging different prices for the same product or service in different regions based on market demand, competition, and production costs. It can be used to maximize revenue and profit margins by charging higher prices in regions where demand is strong and production costs are high, while also making the product more affordable in regions with low demand and production costs. The freight absorption pricing strategy involves setting a price for a product that includes the cost of shipping or transportation to the buyer's location. The seller essentially absorbs the cost of shipping, which can make the product more attractive to buyers in distant locations. This strategy is commonly used by companies that sell products with low profit margins, such as bulk commodities. Freight absorption pricing can also be used as a promotional tool to gain market share. Basing point pricing involves setting a price for a product based on the cost of shipping from a specific location, known as the basing point. The price is then adjusted based on the distance between the basing point and the buyer's location. This strategy is commonly used in industries where shipping costs are a significant factor, such as the steel and cement industries. Basing point pricing can help companies remain competitive in distant markets while accounting for the cost of transportation. Geographical pricing is a pricing strategy in which the price of a product or service is determined based on the geographic location of the customer. It takes into account factors such as the cost of distribution, local market conditions, competition, and customer purchasing power in different regions. Price discrimination. Price discrimination is the practice of charging different prices to different customers or market segments based on their willingness to pay. This strategy takes advantage of variations in customers' price sensitivity across different geographic locations. It may involve offering discounts or promotional pricing to customers in certain regions or countries. Geographical pricing is influenced by various factors, including transportation costs, taxes and tariffs, local market conditions, customer preferences, and competitive landscape. It requires careful analysis of these factors to determine the most effective pricing strategy for different geographic regions. The strategies mentioned above provide the basis for geographical pricing. Geographical pricing is important because, when using this strategy, businesses take into account local demand and currency, making the buying process more attractive and simple for the customers in every region. Purchase products in their local currency, therefore, geographical pricing can give businesses a significant competitive edge. Moreover, it can offer insightful information about regional customer behavior and local demand, resulting in more precise pricing decisions for every location. In general, this strategy can help businesses be more flexible because it will allow them to change their prices based on the changing market conditions of every region. Geographical pricing is a pricing strategy that takes into consideration the geographic location of customers or markets when determining the prices of products or services. It recognizes that different regions or countries may have varying levels of purchasing power, cost structures, competition, and market conditions, which can impact the optimal pricing strategy. Regional pricing: prices are set differently for different regions within the same country. This could be based on factors such as income levels, market demand, or competitive landscape in each region. For example, a company might charge higher prices in affluent areas compared to regions with lower average incomes. International pricing: prices are adjusted based on the country or market in which the product is being sold. This strategy takes into account factors such as exchange rates, import/export costs, local taxes, tariffs, and competitive dynamics. It aims to optimize pricing to remain competitive while accounting for variations in market conditions and purchasing power across different countries. Zone pricing: the pricing structure is divided into zones, typically based on distance or transportation costs. Customers in closer proximity to the manufacturing or distribution centers may receive lower prices due to reduced logistical expenses. This strategy is commonly used when shipping costs are a significant component of the overall pricing. City/town pricing: prices are set differently for specific cities or towns. This approach recognizes that market conditions and customer behavior can vary significantly between urban and rural areas, or between different cities. It allows businesses to adapt pricing to local market dynamics and consumer preferences. Dynamic pricing: this strategy involves adjusting prices in real time based on demand, supply, and other market factors. Geographical aspects can be incorporated into dynamic pricing algorithms to offer location-specific pricing. For example, ride-sharing services may employ surge pricing during peak hours or in high-demand areas. It's important to note that geographical pricing strategies should be implemented carefully to ensure fairness and avoid potential legal and ethical concerns, such as discriminatory pricing practices. Companies need to consider local regulations, competitive reactions, and customer perceptions when implementing geographical pricing. In the retail industry, geographical pricing can be used to adjust prices based on local market conditions, such as demand and competition. For example, a clothing retailer may charge higher prices for their products in areas with high demand, while offering lower prices in regions where demand is lower. The automotive industry can use it to account for differences in the cost of production and transportation across different regions. For example, a car manufacturer may charge higher prices in regions where the cost of production is higher due to higher wages or material costs. In the hardware industry, geographical pricing can be applied in several ways. For example, hardware companies may charge different prices for their products in different regions based on factors such as transportation costs, taxes, and local market conditions. Software companies may offer different prices for their products in different regions, based on factors such as local market demand and currency exchange rates. For example, a company may charge a lower price for their software in a region where the local currency is weaker, or where there is low demand for the product. Geographical pricing is a pricing strategy in which a company sets different prices for its products or services based on the geographical location or region in which they are sold. This approach recognizes that different markets may have varying levels of demand, competitive dynamics, and purchasing power, leading to differences in the willingness and ability of customers to pay for a product or service. Customization: geographical pricing allows companies to customize their prices based on local market conditions. Competitive advantage: by adjusting their prices to reflect local market conditions, companies can gain a competitive advantage over their competitors. This can help them attract more customers and increase their market share. Control over distribution costs: it can help businesses control their distribution channels by setting different prices for different channels. Boost value: geographical pricing can help companies increase their revenue by increasing the perceived value of their product, for example by charging higher prices in regions where demand is high or where the cost of production and distribution is high. Complexity: geographical pricing can be complex and challenging to implement, particularly for companies that operate in multiple countries or regions. This can increase administrative and account costs and make it difficult to manage pricing strategies effectively. Price discrimination: geographical pricing can lead to price discrimination, where customers in certain regions are charged higher prices for the same product or service. This can lead to customer dissatisfaction and negative publicity for the company. Legal issues: geographical pricing can raise legal issues, particularly if it is perceived as being unfair or discriminatory. Companies need to be aware of local regulations, taxes, and laws governing pricing practices to avoid legal problems. Geographical pricing can be highly effective for businesses that operate in multiple regions with varying market conditions. However, it's important to carefully consider the advantages and disadvantages before implementing it. Determining whether geographical pricing is the right strategy for your business depends on various factors, including your industry, target market, competition, and cost structure. Does your business operate in multiple regions with varying market conditions? Are your customers willing to pay different prices in different regions? Do you have the resources and capabilities to implement geographical pricing effectively? Will geographical pricing help you compete more effectively with local competitors? Will geographical pricing improve your profitability? Conduct market research. To effectively implement geographical pricing, it is crucial to conduct comprehensive market research beforehand. This involves gaining a deep understanding of your target market's needs and preferences, as well as identifying the various geographic regions in which you plan to sell your product or service. Analyze competition. It is also important to analyze your competitors' pricing strategies to determine how you can differentiate yourself in each market. By understanding what your competitors are doing, you can develop a pricing strategy that is both competitive and profitable. Determine costs. When developing your pricing strategy, it is essential to consider your costs, including production costs, shipping costs, and marketing expenses. You should also consider any local taxes, tariffs, or other fees that may affect your pricing strategy. Set prices. Once you have completed your market research, analyzed your competition, and determined your costs, you can set your prices for each market. Divide the regions into pricing zones based on their characteristics. For instance, high-income areas may be charged higher prices compared to low-income areas. Monitor and adjust. Finally, it is important to monitor your pricing strategy regularly and make adjustments as needed. Keep track of sales, profits, and market trends to ensure that your pricing strategy is effective. Market-based pricing. Companies analyze market conditions and customer preferences in each geographic market and set prices accordingly. This approach takes into account factors such as local competition, customer income levels, and market demand. Cost-based pricing. Prices are set based on the costs associated with manufacturing, distributing, and selling the product or service in different regions. Factors like transportation costs, import/export fees, and local taxes are considered when determining the final price. Zone pricing. In this approach, prices are set based on predefined geographic zones. Each zone may cover a specific region or a group of countries. The pricing within each zone remains consistent, simplifying the pricing structure and ensuring consistency within the targeted regions. Dynamic pricing. Some companies use dynamic pricing models that adjust prices in real time based on various factors such as demand, competition, and market conditions. These adjustments can be made at a local level, taking into account regional demand fluctuations and competitive dynamics. Currency-based pricing. Companies may adjust prices based on the currency exchange rates in different countries. This approach helps maintain consistency in pricing when dealing with international markets. The choice of geographical pricing strategy depends on various factors such as market segmentation, customer preferences, cost structures, and competitive landscape. It is essential for companies to carefully analyze and evaluate each market's characteristics to determine the most suitable pricing strategy for different geographic regions. Geographical pricing is a powerful pricing strategy that can help businesses increase sales, profits, and market share. By understanding your target market's needs and preferences, and considering your costs, you can develop a successful geographical pricing strategy. While this strategy has its advantages and disadvantages, it can be an effective tool for businesses looking to expand into new markets or increase their profitability in existing ones. If you are considering implementing a geographical pricing strategy, it is important to conduct extensive market research, analyze your competitors' pricing strategies, determine your costs, set prices, and monitor and adjust your strategy as needed. Incorporating AI-based services like PriceVa into your geographical pricing strategy can enhance the success of your pricing approach. Implementing a geographical pricing strategy can be resource-intensive, and PriceVis streamlines the process by providing a centralized interface to manage all price-related metrics, including price monitoring and alerts. This enables you to conduct comprehensive research and analysis, leading to better informed pricing decisions and a more optimized pricing strategy. With careful planning and execution, geographical pricing can be a valuable tool for your business. The purpose of geographic pricing is to adjust the price of a product or service based on the geographic location of the customer. This is done to reflect the differences in market demand, competition, cost of production, and other factors that vary between regions. Geographical pricing is an important pricing strategy, as it enables businesses to customize their prices for specific regions and target particular customer segments. This customization optimizes the pricing strategy, giving companies a competitive advantage by aligning with local market conditions. A geographical discount is a pricing strategy in which a seller offers different prices to customers based on their geographic location to remain competitive in those markets. This type of discount is often used by businesses that operate in different regions or countries with varying economic conditions or consumer demands. In order to mitigate these potential negative effects, companies must communicate the rationale and methodology behind their pricing strategies to customers in a clear and transparent way. This will build trust and promote brand loyalty, creating a more stable market for both businesses and customers. Additionally, companies can also consider implementing pricing caps or limits to prevent excessive price volatility and protect their bottom line. By setting maximum and minimum prices, businesses can maintain a level of predictability while still benefiting from the advantages of dynamic pricing. Overall, dynamic pricing can be a useful tool for businesses to stay competitive and respond to customer demand, but it must be implemented strategically and transparently to avoid negative consequences. By considering the potential risks and benefits of dynamic pricing, businesses can develop effective pricing strategies that maximize their profits while also maintaining customer trust and loyalty. Thank you for watching the video and subscribe the channel.